really should bring this up, that the impact of supporting other communities and other issues. And it wasn't as if NCRR as a group just automatically supported other groups. I mean, we're talking about the Japanese American community. And we're talking about Nisei, who maybe have their own reactions to different ethnic groups. So we had to talk about things like for example, South Africa and apartheid. We took a stand and we supported the groups opposing apartheid in South Africa. But we had a discussion in NCR, and it wasn't always immediate. People always said we have to focus on redress. How does it relate to redress? And we talked about, and then we learned a lot too, because we were able to make connections to our own experiences, Japanese Americans in the camps, and how people in South Africa would move to the Bantus land. So we would be forced to try to discuss things and try to connect. Well, this is kind of funny, because in 1989, Bert Nakano was supposed to go to Japan he was invited by this institution to speak about the camps and redress. And then he couldn't go, or he didn't want to go because he was feeling kind of weak, and it was a hard trip. So they said, well, can anybody else go? And I said, yeah, I can go, even though it meant taking off from work and leaving the load on another teacher. I went in 1989, and it was part of a minority coalition that went to Japan to oppose fingerprinting, but also to talk about our experiences as Japanese Americans as a minority in Japan, as minorities in the United States. And we were supporting another minority in Japan. And I was also able to talk about redress and the campaign to win redress, with different Korean groups. So that was kind of an interesting trip. But the funny thing is that the group that invited Bert was the school that I had gone to in 1988 and 89. I mean 1968 and 69, and I didn't know that till I actually got to Japan. They paid for the trip.
So NCRR had sort of an international...
Yeah, and we got flack for that. I mean, coming back, there was an article in the Rafu, and people were saying, well, why is NCR going to Japan? And are they spending redress money? Or money that we've donated for redress? And other anti-Korean sentiments about, well, it's not true that Koreans are mistreated, or that they're not treated equally. And so we learned about other groups even outside the United States, and I think that we felt a similarity with groups that were fighting for their own issues as minorities in different countries, like Koreans in Japan. And now they're actually taking up, I think, the question of reparations and, as Koreans. And later on, that led to also going to Japan in support of, the Chinese slave laborers who were seeking reparations from Kajima Corporation. But because we had done these things, I think people saw NCR as a group that they could connect with and ask for support from.